I got one word for you guys. Road King. This bike is literally king of the road. Not only is it the king of the road, it's also king of the world, ma. King of the world, ma. No, I guess I wouldn't. I'm not king of the world. The bike's king of the world. So the bike would be on the top of the ship, putting his arms out, yelling king of the world. I'm gonna tell you guys all about this bike. This is the 2014 Harley-Davidson Road King. And you know what happened in Harley-Davidson? Rushmore happened. This is the first year of the Rushmore models, and they made some really awesome changes to it. The two biggest changes, they pretty much changed the whole bike, of course, but the two biggest changes that I really noticed is one, the buttons. When you notice the buttons, they pretty much used the same buttons from like the late 90s up until 2013. The exact same buttons and the casing and all this stuff. It was like the same. It wasn't the same. I'm pretty sure it was exactly the same. And you didn't really notice it because when you got a new bike, they were all clean and stuff. But then you see these new ones and you're like, oh, that's awesome. I like them so much better. The other big change they made is back here, and that's with the lids. So before, you had to pop this up and kind of go in and out and bring it up. And it was kind of, let's be honest, it was kind of cumbersome, kind of complicated because you had to explain it to people. Like, oh, like, why is this thing not working? This is easy. You lift this thing up right here, bam. The lid's open. Those are the two biggest changes that I noticed. Obviously the whole bike is a different bike, for the Rushmore models, but those are the biggest thing that I really, care about. Now I'm a huge fan of the simplicity of the Road King. And another benefit of the fact that it's so simple, it doesn't have the lower fairings, it doesn't have the upper fairing up here, and less stuff, less radial, there's less things to break, but also it's 100 pounds lighter than its flashier, ultra limited counterpart. It also comes with the more powerful 45-degree high output 103. I don't know how this is, but it's air cooled and also has an integrated oil cooler. I don't know why they don't call it oil cooled. I guess it's mainly it's air cooled, and it helps, the oil cooler helps out. Also, of course, connected with a 6-speed gearbox, connected to the wheels through a belt drive. So if you're new to Harley-Davidsons, jumping on a Harley, it's a little bit different than what you might expect. You have a proximity key. I normally keep it in my saddlebags, don't tell anybody. Or you keep it in your pocket. As long as this thing is unlocked, you have the proximity key on you, turn the bike, is your open and kill switch, turn that on, and then over here is your start button right here. And then your turn signals, instead of having like a Honda where both sides are on, left and right, it's on your left, this is more like a BMW or a Harley where you turn your right, and that turns to the right one, and it self-cancels or touch it again, and then you turn your left, that's the left one. High-low beams, this is your little indicator. This changes the different modes on the dial. And then over right here is probably the coolest thing on a Road King is the cruise control. When this thing came out in 2014, at an MSRP of just around $18,000 and weighed just over 800 pounds. Oh, here's another best feature of the bike. I'm not a big fan of windshields. Take the windshield off, lift these little tabs up. Pull the windshield off, just throw it away. You're not gonna need it. Look how much better that bike looks without a windshield, and it needs to be cleaned up without a windshield too, a little dusty. Now, I of course can tell you all about the features of the motorcycle, but you know what? Who cares? Because the best part about this bike is not the features. The best part about this bike is how it makes your soul feel when you're riding it. Let's go take this thing for a spin. All right, guys, before we do the ride, let's do the words of wisdom. Colossians 4:2. Devote yourself to prayer, keeping alert in it with an attitude of thanksgiving. Bam. Lock that in. All right, guys, let's put the gloves on. Let's take this thing for a ride. I love me some Road King. If you guys have been watching the channel, you know that I'm a big Road King fan. One of my personal bikes is a Road King. I did just throw a turbocharger on it, and it does have 99,000 miles. Big fan of the Road King, and one of the reasons I'm a big fan of the Road King is because, one, it's a touring bike. That's what I wanted for. I wanted a big bike for touring. So I like the comfort of the big touring chassis. But then what else is going on here is I like the simplicity of it. There's nothing here, there's nothing on this bike that really dates it. There really is a timestamp that says this is how old this motorcycle is. if you have an ultra classic that has a radio and stuff like that, that right there, you date the bike. Case in point, look at an old 80s motorcycle. It's got some old 80s looking radio in there, and you're like, ah, here we go, it's old, you know. And I feel like something like in 50 years, the Road King is going to be more of a timeless collector piece than an ultra classic, especially if you modify your bike and put the whole thing is stereo and speakers and stuff like that. That's going to be junk, honestly. That's going to be junk in 20 years from now. I know people spend big money doing it, but a nice clean looking Road King, hey, people are still going to be riding, you know, bikes then. I don't know, there's something about it. I also like the simplicity of it, that there's no front fairing. It's just you and the motorcycle, a little easier to work on. You get more visibility. Normally in the Ultra Classic and the Road Glide and stuff, this is all fairing and gauges. You got to look over this stuff. I like seeing this stuff. I like having that little bit more visibility. Now I've got no problem jumping on those other Harley touring bikes and ride them. I honestly don't notice it, but when I get back on my Road King, I'm reminded. I'm like, I like this. Now the 103 is a really good motor. And of course, this is a 2014, so this is the first year of the Rushmore. Front tire feels a little bit low on tire pressure. I'm gonna go pump that up when I get back to the shop. Now there's a couple different things you can do in terms of highway pegs. You can just bolt them right on the side. There's also these little, like, these rubber pieces that you can put on top of here. So this kind of becomes your highway peg. So your boot kind of stays up there. A lot of different options. Guys, I'm a big fan of this Rockform foam mount. I put a lot of miles on these things. Before this, I was always it was hard for me to put my phone in there. I had to, you know, the mount was always grabbing it and touching buttons and stuff. It was really kind of frustrating, and I never knew if my phone was actually secure in there. This, I know it's 100% secure. If you guys want to check out Rockform, we've got a promo code, Srkcycles 25 to get 25% off your next Rockform order. It comes with you can buy the case and the phone thing. I really like it. Another cool thing about the case, check this out. It also has a magnet in here. Now, I'm not saying that's a secure spot. I'm just saying I use that magnet a lot, and I stick it to a lot of other things. So I think that's pretty cool. Now, when you're riding a bike like this, and I'm so sick and tired of hearing this, you know, we've got the Bikes and Beards Facebook group. It's like 11,000 people. I'm so sick and tired of hearing people, Harleys are faster than other bikes, and other bikes are faster than Harley. It's the dumbest debate. Everything's faster than Harley-Davidson. Let's just deal with that and listen. I know what you're thinking. You're like, well, Sean, you just turbocharged your Harley-Davidson. I want everything to be faster. I'm not saying it's a fast bike. It's not really made for that. Now, we're gonna go do the 0 to 60. We'll see how fast it is. It's quick. It's probably faster than most people's cars. That's fine. But super sport bikes are incredibly fast. What's my point here? This is a cruiser bike. It's awesome at cruising. This thing can do what a sport bike can't do. You can just kick back and cruise. You can't do that on a sport bike. It's not fun. I'll get back on this topic. There. You can't kick back and cruise on a sport bike. All you can do is speed and do wheelies and cheat death or meet death on a sport bike. Something like this. You know, last time I took a ride down south, I jumped on my Road King. And I got a nice backrest. I think backrests are awesome on motorcycles. You can't put a backrest on a sport bike. And I just kicked back like this and crushed 700 miles. And it was amazing. It was a great trip. That's why I love these bikes. I like Harley-Davidson. I like Harley-Davidson as a company. I think they're trying some new stuff, some new wild things. I think they're about a decade behind. But hey, you know what? My dad always said, and he probably learned from someone else, but when's the best time to plant a tree? 10 years ago. The best time to plant a tree is 10 years ago, because then you have a tree. When's the next best time to do it? Right now. Don't be all wallowing in yourself and being like, well, you know, I remember I was told this when I was about to go to college, because I took a couple years off. When's the best time to go to college? Before. When's the next best time? Right now. I'm not promoting college or anything. So, I'm excited about the new stuff Harley's doing. I like this bike. I like the Road King. Road King is a staple in the Harley-Davidson lineup. You know, every time they drop, sometimes they add a couple bikes, sometimes they drop a few bikes. You know, Rocker C, Forget You. The Road King will always, it'll probably always be there. One of the coolest Harley-Davidsons ever. Another cool thing about this thing, you got cruise control. Turn that on, set it, bam. I know what you're thinking. You're like, wow, Sean, that's not that big of a deal. Go on a big trip. It's the greatest thing ever. The fact that you can release, you can give this hand, you give your left hand a break the whole time. The fact that you can give your right hand a break and just kind of kick back and know that you're staying somewhat in the speed limit is awesome. And I mean, it's a big deal. Trust me, it's a big deal. I love me some cruise control. The cool thing about it, anything you do, turns it off. You roll the throttle back, that turns it off. You get on the brake, clutch, any brake, any clutch, touch anything, it turns it off. It's very safe, just like a car is. Alright guys, that wraps up the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. This motorcycle, along with a bunch of other motorcycles, are for sale at Srkcycles.com. Check it out. We do ship motorcycles anywhere in the country, and we have bajillions of extremely happy customers. We don't have any unhappy customers. We do whatever we got to do to make them happy. There's also walk-around videos for all those bikes too. Remember, subscribe, hit notifications. Remember, it is not what you're riding, but where you're going. We'll see you guys next time.